I kid you not, my New Year's resolution 5 years ago was to only buy fine jewelry instead of fashion jewelry. And my New Year's resolution 2 years ago was to only fly in premium or first class when possible and not fly economy. Now, that might sound crazy to you because most people's New Year's resolutions relating to money are about saving money and not spending more. But to me, the real resolutions or goals that I had were this: to learn how to spend with intention. And guess what? I've pretty much stuck with these resolutions. I didn't give them up by February. They're simply a part of my lifestyle, and more importantly, they are a part of what I value. So in this video, I want to share with you 7 things that I no longer spend on now that I'm more intentional with my money and I'm better with personal finances. My hope is that by sharing my thought process, you can find ways to also spend with more intention. I don't expect you to give up these things on this list. I just want you to see what my thought process is for me, so maybe it'll make you more aware of your own thought process with your spending. Because after all, life is short. We spend so much time trying to make more money. You want to get the best value for your money in a way that is aligned with your values. Hello and welcome. For those new here, my name is Lissa, the founder of Wealth for Women of Color. For some added context, I am an accredited financial counselor and a personal finance expert, but I wasn't always. So just know that wherever you are on your journey towards financial security and wealth, you can always make small changes that are going to have a big impact over time. Let's jump to the list. The first thing I no longer spend money on now that I'm good with personal finances is cheap, low quality lodging. Hotels that smell and just aren't kept clean are a no for me. I will pay that extra premium for a clean, well-kept place. An average person lives 28,835 days in their lifetime, which means 28,835 nights of sleep. I decided that I no longer want to waste money for a night of uncomfortable sleep. Related to this, I also no longer find the need to pack as many people as possible into a hotel room on bigger trips with friends or family. When I was younger and I had less money out of college, my friends and I would take weekend trips from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and we would do the most to spend the least amount of money as possible on lodging and the trip in general. I'm talking about people sleeping on the floor, sleeping in the bathtub, you name it. Now, I'm not knocking anyone who does this. I just personally value my own space. This means that I prioritize extra money in my travel budget to accommodate for this. For me, it's something I decided was important for me, and I'm now in a position where I have the funds to do this. Because the last thing you want to do is try to live this lifestyle when you don't have the funds for it. Just get intentional and understand what you value. All right, number 2, something I no longer spend on is fast fashion. At the beginning of the video, I alluded to how I now prioritize fine jewelry over fashion jewelry. And a big reason for this is because anything that I buy, I want it to last. I used to buy fashion jewelry and then after 2-3 years, even if I didn't use it, it would start to rust. I hated that action of having to throw it away and then go to the store to find some more jewelry. I've realized how much more I prefer quality over quantity. I'll wear the same necklace for 3 months in a row and I don't care because I know it's gonna last. So for this same reason of valuing quality, I've pretty much stopped purchasing clothes from fast fashion stores. With the exception of sometimes needing an occasional Halloween costume or something that I can't find anywhere else on a trip to the mall, I usually avoid fast fashion. Now, I would love to tell you that I don't support fast fashion purely for environmental and humanitarian reasons, but I have to be honest with you and tell you that my initial reason that I stopped with fast fashion is because of that preference for quality. It wasn't until after that that I really started to learn more about the very, very dark side of fast fashion, which just gives me more reason to avoid it. All right, number 3, things that I no longer spend on: Jordans. The truth is, I love new sneakers and shoes in general, and a little fact about me is that I play basketball. I've been hooping since I was 10 and I still play recreationally. So I have nothing against sneakerheads, and wearing Jordans are just something you do when you love basketball and you love that culture. But here's why I personally stopped buying Jordans. 2 main reasons. 1, I value them less than I used to. I simply care about now using my money towards other things, like I mentioned, buying nice jewelry, flying in first class. So it's as simple as my values changing. And number 2, low-key, I never felt like J's were comfortable on my feet. I know that it's supposed to be a real thing that one foot is bigger than the other, like slightly, but for some reason, doesn't matter what pair of Jordans I buy, one foot would always hurt and the other one wouldn't after wearing them for a while. So personally, I now like to buy shoes based on functionality and comfort. Obviously, I still want them to look nice, but I value functionality and comfort a lot more, so for me, J's are a no. Number 4, things that I no longer spend on now that I'm more intentional with my money. Game systems. Believe it or not, I am a gamer at heart. I love video games. I used to always buy the newest PlayStation. I used to play Madden and I would beat all the boys in it. But here's why I personally stopped buying game systems. 1, I prioritize my time differently now. I don't want to spend all of my free time playing video games since I'm already on a screen most of the day. Plus, I love watching shows and movies, so that's even more screen time when I'm having my leisure time. I personally also choose to just have other outdoor hobbies as opposed to wanting to play video games. Number 2, I enjoy other games. I do have an iPad and I have a few games on it like Candy Crush and the New York Times games like Wordle, and those do the trick for me. I don't feel like I need any more. And number 3, my old game systems still work. I have my Nintendo 64, I have a Nintendo, and I actually just won a retro Atari at my family's White Elephant. I might even have a working PS3 somewhere, I just don't use it. So again, I'm not here to shame you if you're a gamer and this is not something you want to give up, but what it comes down to is knowing what you value. Like, what is it about playing video games that you enjoy? What joy does it bring to your life? And whatever that answer is it necessary to buy each new game system as soon as it comes out? Or can you just be happy with the ones that you have? So it's less about not buying video game systems and more about spending with intention. All right, quick intermission before we get into the last 3 things on the list that I no longer spend on. If you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me out and it's gonna help me help more people. So I really appreciate it and I appreciate you watching this far into the video. So let's continue with the list. Number 5, something I no longer spend on. New phones every year. I used to want a new phone anytime a new model came out, like if I heard there was a better camera or if there was new features. And I was lucky enough that I used to work at Google and I was able to expense my phone. So the cost typically didn't even come out of my pocket. But even if that was still the case, that I didn't have to pay for a new phone, I just don't see the need to get a new phone every year, especially if there's not a lot of change from the last model. I just bought the iPhone 15 and the one I had before that was the 12. And guess what happened between having the 12 and the 15? I became a content creator and the camera on the 15 is so much better than the 12. I decided I wanted to make that jump and get a new phone. Y'all already know nowadays phone prices are ridiculous, especially the iPhone. So before you buy a new phone, I would urge you just to ask yourself, why do you need it? What is it that you value that you're not getting with your current phone? Like, is your current one broken or is it just that you want the new one? Whatever you decide is up to you. Make sure you think about it. All right, number 6, something I no longer spend on, bottle service. Let me preface this by saying I have no hate to y'all who pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars for bottle service at the club. I can't even tell you that I regret doing it in the past because good times were had. Now, if I had to boil it down to one reason that I don't do bottle service anymore, it's this: I just don't go out anymore. On top of that, I do value other things nowadays. I would rather prioritize spending on vacations or even putting money in investments to build my wealth. I care less about going out and having a nice table to sit at and having drinks served to me. Now, I know most personal finance experts would just laugh at this and immediately judge someone for spending on bottle service. I think that's because most of them have more of a frugal mindset and can't justify spending on something you can get at the grocery store for $50. But like I said earlier, I truly believe that being good with money is less about what you spend on, but about why you spend on something. Are you doing it intentionally, and is it something you value? And does it fit into your budget? Are you buying bottle service because you hate standing in line and you want a table so that you can vibe with your friends without other people interrupting you? Or are you doing it to impress other people, maybe even to network? Whatever your reason, just make sure it's aligned with your values and goals and obviously aligned with your budget. All right, last on the list, number 7, things that I no longer spend on, subscriptions that I don't use. It might sound silly, but how many of us end up paying for subscriptions that we don't use simply because we forget they exist or we keep thinking that we're eventually going to use them? The better that I've gotten with my money over the years, the more often I audit my subscriptions to make sure that it's still something that me and my partner actually want. If it's something I'm not sure about or haven't used in a while, but I still kind of want it, I might pause the subscription to give myself more time to think about it. And if it's a subscription that I don't use and haven't used for a while, I'll just cancel it. Because you can always resubscribe to things later, and sometimes they'll even give you a discount to come back. Now, while we're on the topic of subscriptions, just another quick tip that I have is if you ever sign up for a free trial, set yourself a reminder in your calendar before that first charge hits, and remind yourself to check in on whether or not you want to keep or cancel that subscription. Doing this gives me control of whether or not I stick with a subscription, as opposed to just forgetting about it and letting it get charged. So this one is about being aware. All right, that's it for the list. Hopefully sharing with you my thought process helps you think about your own thought process with the things you prioritize in your life and the things that you spend on. Let me know in the comments, what are some things that you have intentionally stopped spending on and why? I'd love to hear from you, so let me know. Until next time, peace out.